families, welcome back. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. This video is the video I promised you yesterday that I will share with you about why Mali or Malian president Assimi Goita is in China. Before then, they have back-to-back conference or interview to share few details between China and Mali and the reason why they were invited into the summit. The summit, Africa-China summit, wasn't the reason why the president is there. It was not the only reason why. They were planning to go there and do these two things together. You know, when they are doing West stage things, most of them, they said it before, the foreign minister that will speak to you soon said it, they don't want to see them. Some of the African leaders and foreign leaders, they don't even want to take pictures with them. But China doesn't care who they are and what they are. They like them, they like their relationship. So listening to this video, you will hear details, information about these two countries that maybe some of us do not know exist or is going on. For me, when I received this video, I listened to it over and over and I was like, great. They even call themselves brothers. And just like China called the Sahel Alliance his brothers. And yes, it is great relationship. I enjoyed this video and I hope you will enjoy it as well. I will not interrupt. I will try not to. And I hope they will not come for me because I did work hours on this video plus translating it. So hopefully they will not come for me when I post it. If not, I have to take it down and then redo it. But I want us to enjoy the way I enjoy it before doing it. So I will leave it like that. Let's listen to this video together. It's a bit long, so get your tea, coffee, whatever you want, your breakfast, and let's enjoy this video together and get more information about this friendship that is going on between China and Africa as a whole, because China is not only in the Sahel, they are all in Africa countries. We have Chinese government, I must clarify that, and then we have corporations who comes to Africa to take advantage. So there's difference between these two.
United Nations Security Council, China has been at our side not only on defense and security issues, but also on economic development. China has invested heavily in our country's infrastructure. Kabbalah University in the health sector, the Mali Hospital and many other infrastructures have been built with the help of Chinese governments and institutions. As one of Mali's strategic partners and important allies, Mali's presence is justified by the need to share the authorities' vision of our relations with China, of international relations and of the development underway in our region, the partnership of sincere friendship between China and Mali consistently develops with tangible, fruitful results. This brotherly relationship stands the test of time. While following the principles of sincere friendship, equal mutual support for common development, the spirit of building a community of shared future put forward by President Xi Jinping and respecting the three principles determined by Colonel Assimi Goita, President of the Transition, and Mali's head of state, the two countries have been cooperating. All azimuths having borne abundant fruit. Politically, the two parties demonstrate mutual trust and stand firmly behind each other on issues relating to our respective fundamental interests. China highly appreciates Mali's resolute stance on the One China policy. For its part, China stands firmly behind Mali's autonomous choice of development path and defends its legitimate rights at the United Nations Security Council, opposing the politicization and manipulation of human rights issues to interfere in Mali's internal affairs. The theme of FOCAC 2020.
When I heard that statement, I remember the video I made last night, about the conference that the Chinese leader had with the Mali president, the two presidents. And as Megata mentioned something like China and I, or China and Malians, do not have any problem with human rights issues. So listening to that, that reminds me, because not knowing they went to UN with this issue, this human rights issue, and Chinese or China government back Mali 100% that they have right to defend their country. So yes, they were happy about that, and also for their one child, policy that they have for years now. They don't judge them for doing that as well. This is what I call respect, and that's why these two countries will go a long way. Please, families, I said I will not come in, but I have to. Let's listen to more. I'll be back. I do not want to regret anything.
4 is joining forces to promote modernization and build a high-level community of shared future China-Africa. The meeting will be marked by a series of events, including high-level ministerial meetings and an entrepreneurs' conference aimed at strengthening bilateral relations and promoting economic and commercial exchanges. A real opportunity for Mali to forge win-win strategic partnerships. And the expectations of Mali's head of diplomacy are high. We are working with China to strengthen economic relations, and the Chinese have shown their interest. To be able to work with Mali, to develop our resources, whether in the agricultural field, but above all even in the mining field. Today, China is one of the world's most powerful economies, with industries that need to be supplied with these raw materials. So what we want to do with China is to be able to work together. To be able to develop a strategic partnership with China that helps us process our raw materials, whether cotton or sugar. Whether it's gold, lithium or other strategic ores or others that are being explored, we need to make sure that we can transform them, so that they benefit the Malian people first and foremost, and the Chinese people too. So there are a number of actions underway. The two parties are working hand in hand and have created fruitful achievements. China has built emblematic infrastructures in Mali such as the 3rd Bamako Bridge, the Mali Hospital, the CICB and so on. It plays a crucial role in the development of the country and the daily lives of Malians. China has responded positively to Mali's needs for clean energy, such as hydroelectric and solar power plants. In addition to government actions, Chinese investors and traders have created tens of thousands of jobs in Mali to alleviate the food crisis in Mali in recent years, with the Chinese government providing food aid. Direct, worth 1.7 billion CFA francs, brings relief to thousands of struggling families. Since 2022, the mission of Chinese agricultural experts has organized 76 training sessions for 2,419 growers conducting research and experimentation on rice corn cultivation.
For me, that is great. 76 research on seed. That is great. Africa need to be independent. Some countries do not want it. They don't want Africa to be self-sufficient, especially when it comes to food, medication, and things that are very necessary to human being. No. So for them to be training them, doing the research in the country, because they themselves, that's what they went through. When they call them communists, this and that, and they put sanctions on them, this is what they do. They work hard, start everything. If you see fish farming in China, you open your mouth. All the sardines, tunas, everything is from China. We need to be self-sufficient in Africa. Enough that aid. The aid is crumbs, it's not helping us. And China is helping. Russia is helping. And other countries as well. Don't let me go there. Please, let's listen to more.
Fruit and vegetable cotton. For over 20 years, the Confucius Institute at the University of Letters and Sciences in Bamako and the Confucius class at the Askia Lycée in Mohammed have trained nearly 10,000 young Malians with a passion for Chinese culture. The Chinese government grants scholarships to excellent Malian students to help them realize their dreams of self-fulfillment. We believe in a win-win partnership. In other words, we don't just go and order things from people, and in this context, China needs Mali, and Mali needs the industry, with all its industrial and financial capacities. From China, there are many projects in the field. Solar power plants, for example, are being built as part of a partnership with China. The first phase, ASAFO, has been launched recently, and we're also working on the second phase. So all these issues are being discussed and agreed upon. Moreover, the first phase of this partnership is financed by Mali. And we also hope to benefit from the support of China's financial and development institutions. We're working on that too. In the field of infrastructure, there are Chinese companies working in Mali for the development of our country. In the field of health, we also have initiatives underway. In the field of economic exchanges between the two countries. And as you know, China is also a member of the Security Council, a country that shares Mali's major principles with regard to international relations. Non-interference in countries' internal affairs, respect for sovereignty. China regularly lends its support to Mali when these issues are discussed by international bodies, notably the Security Council. So Mali's participation will also be to strengthen this economic cooperation, but also to share the vision with our Chinese partner. From the Malian authorities with regard to our development, our willingness to take charge of ourselves, the wish to have relationships that are respectful and balanced between the parties, but also to share all plans and programs that we have, particularly at the regional level within the framework of ES, to see to what extent China can also watch and follow closely what is happening in this space and also be a partner not only of the husband, but a partner of the AES within the framework of all the efforts that are underway, the participation in person of the President. Mali's transition to the FOCARD 2024 summit reflects its sincere desire to strengthen the ties of friendship and cooperation that have already existed for over 60 years. We are confident that the Malian side will participate actively in the summit events and discussions. Documents such as the Declaration and Action Plan. We are convinced that this summit will raise Sino-Malian relations to a higher level, strengthen mutual political trust and consolidate pragmatic cooperation in all fields. We have a Malian community invested in China, and this Malian community has a particularity. It is essentially made up of businessmen, investors and traders who effectively and productively drive the national economy with substantial investments in industry, trade, import and export. So our nationals in China are an important pillar of our development. In this respect, I would like to launch an appeal to all our compatriots, to Malians in China, to ask them to be resolutely mobilized within the framework of the China-Africa Summit, to mobilize for a warm welcome to the President of the Transition, Head of State for his arrival in China, and also to the whole Malian delegation, but also to continue to be ambassadors for Mali in China. The President of the Transition is preparing to travel to China. The visit comes a year after the one to Russia. A new, independent foreign policy based on mutual respect, diversification of partners and defense of the interests of the Malian people. Since the rectification process initiated by the President of the Transition, we have been redefining the foundations of our partnership, and as you know, 3 key principles have been laid down, which were conceptualized by the head of state, but which have also been taken up and made sacred. In Mali's new constitution, in particular respect for our country's sovereignty, respect for this sovereign choice, but also consideration for the vital needs of our populations. So essentially, all our partnerships need to be re-evaluated against this yardstick. This is important because many of the partnerships in which we were involved were already in place, were based on perhaps hints of neo-colonial, imperialist or other motives that we needed to revisit, and also a lot of interference in our country's internal affairs, and even diktats. Also, even within the framework of cooperation, there were agreements that were not based on rules that respected the sovereignty of our countries and our economic interests. So all these elements had to be reviewed. And also because the very notion of partnership responds to the needs of countries to ensure that they can find what they need, because we're looking for a partner, because there's something missing that this partner has, and that by pooling our strengths, we'd like to move towards a partnership where each party wins with certain traditional partners. This wasn't possible because they were used to a way of doing things that didn't correspond to that. Basically, you see, the new authorities in Mali didn't like the idea, and neither did the Malian people. That's why we thought it would be useful to turn to other partners who would respond to our concerns without giving up. Those with whom we work must also accept the conditions. In the field of security, if I take this example alone, the partners we had didn't meet our expectations and didn't enable us to achieve results, and by diversifying, for example by going to Russia, because fundamentally the Malian army needed modern war weapons equipment that we couldn't find with our traditional partners, who almost embargoed us, so we now had access. Here's to military equipment. To the training that comes with its military equipment to be able to fight against all the factors of insecurity. So we had to diversify and turn to Turkey, Brazil or other partners to meet this demand. It's the same thing on the economic front, so it's essentially a question of making sure we can get the best out of each partnership. I don't think the husband even invented diversification. United States, Russia, France, but all these countries work within the framework of partnerships, and the same countries that work with certain partners forbid us to work with these partners. So our country is now free to choose its partners based solely on the interests of our country, regardless of whether or not they please a neighbor or a country that calls itself a power. As you know, Mali has considerable resources at its disposal, not least in our subsoil and even in agriculture, etc. Today, strategic resources are often needed, whether in aviation, nuclear energy or even in the telephone sector. So many of our partners also need these resources. And we need these resources to be transformed, so that they can also benefit the development of the global economy. In this context, it can't be done on the backs of Malians. So, necessarily, Mali has to win, and these products have to be processed, if only in part, in Mali. And that the partner also finds something they like. At the same time, the president of the transition is working to strengthen African integration in the department in charge of the issue. A number of initiatives have been taken to realize the president's vision. Mali has been a pioneer in all aspects of African integration from independence to the present day, and we are founding members of every organization. And beyond this historical aspect, our country has a national policy of African integration. Our country has ratified all the charters and acts. The most important of these is the ZLECAF, the Continental Free Trade Zone. So I think that at this level, Mali can easily be cited as an example of the pioneering countries of African integration. Beyond that, Mali, the government of Mali, has initiated complementary actions to further strengthen this African integration, notably the institution of African Integration Week. The week-long celebration of Africa Day on May 25 not only celebrates Africa, it also celebrates the ties between Mali and its African brothers and sisters. It is also about magnify the communities that are there, that exhibit their culture. From the culinary era to cultural evenings, with parades of traditional dress, all to show that, in Mali, we're right in the heart of Africa. Mali's foreign policy also includes the crucial and historic role played by the president of the transition in the creation of the AES, today the Confederation of Sahel States, Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger, which share the same security and development challenges, pooling their efforts to meet the aspirations of their populations. Based on mutualization. Less energy and intelligence to have in defense and security was the starting point. Today, our three national armies are working in an integrated, harmonized way, facing up to the same threat, and are beginning to achieve a certain number of results in the field of defense and security. Because if we put all our resources together, we'll have more impact. But we rely on ourselves first. On the diplomatic front, we're going to work. We need to speak with one voice, to work together on this difference, including on economic issues. The third pillar, is precisely the question of developing the reinforcement of integration, the free movement of people and goods. How can we make the most of natural resources, mining resources and all the capacities in our area to benefit our populations? We need an integrated approach to these issues. And that we can work together, have railroads and other infrastructures that can relieve our populations but also improve their living conditions. Their Excellency I know the Assimi Goita present the transition head of state of Mali, the president of General Chani, president of Niger and Captain Ibrahim Traoré, president of Burkina Faso, have decided to implement this magnificent idea of rapprochement. This work was carried out in synergy at the technical level, with our departments, the Ministry of Malaya and the other departments involved in African integration. We worked on the technical aspects. We made trips to Ouagadougou to prepare for the heads of state summits. Summits which saw the creation of the Confederation of Sahel States and, as you know, the Summit of Heads of State concluded with an important decision for our country. It was the Malian presidency of the Confederation of Israeli States. What we want is for this Confederation of Sahel states to be different from other existing models, in the sense that we want it to be an integration of peoples. So integrating people means integrating them in every dimension, whether it's the security dimension, in the diplomatic dimension, as in the development dimension, the indicator of measurement must be the satisfaction of our populations. If our populations feel that the new dynamic in place brings them the well-being they need to be able to move, invest and work in these countries, I think we will have made progress. From the advent of the transition to the present day, La Voix du Mali has resonated unashamedly on the international stage, with a new face of discreet, effective diplomacy under the leadership of the head of foreign policy, who reassures us on a daily basis that Mali remains open to all countries and sincere partners.
Families, families, thank you so much. The video is long, but I hope you have taken one or two things from this video that you don't know yet what is going on between these two countries. And we must remember that AES is the reason why the president is there. He's standing for these three countries. Three of them cannot go. They are setting the examples. Even though the name Mali has been repeated, we all know that they are there for these three countries. They will not leave one another. No way. They will not. He was invited for a lot of reasons. According to this video, face to face, let's sit down and chat and think about how we can take this country to the next level, just like we did ourselves. And the next video that will come up will blow your mind. Things are happening. Things are happening over there. See you soon. See you soon, families. God bless you. If this is your first time, my name is Mamre, and you are very welcome. My new subscribers, my families, my VIPs, God bless you all. It's because of you that I'm here, and I appreciate your time. I will see you soon. Have a great day. Credit to Sangwa24 Info. Thanks for sharing this information or video with us.